up, everyone? My name is Lexi, and welcome to my channel. Today, I thought since we're all cooped up, what better time than now to share a story with all of you that always seem to ask me about Oktoberfest and it somehow always gets brought up. So, I'm going to share with you the time that I thought I was going to be left for dead in a foreign country by myself, completely helpless, first world problems. Let's dive into this. So before I get into that part of the story, I'm going to talk to you about the events that led up to that day, which should have been like a no-brainer. Like, girl, this is not going to work out. Like, go back home. Bye. So it's my husband and I and a few of our friends. We probably load up a van of like 9 people, and everyone but me and the driver are getting drunk. So you already know that my friend and I were just like, get us out of this van with these psycho men because we can't do this anymore. So after like an 8 or 9 hour drive, we finally get to Germany and we get to our hotel and everything's fine. We're like unpacking our stuff for the night, getting ready for tomorrow. And out of nowhere, we hear like this loud bang in the room next to us, and a few of our friends are at our door. One of them is freaking bleeding from the cheek, and the other one, we don't know where he's at. So what had happened was they got into a fight. One of them like bit a chunk of the other one's cheek off, and the other one got thrown into a glass table and broke it. So right there should have been like, this is how the rest of the time is going to go. But we didn't think about it like that. So the next day we're getting ready to go to Oktoberfest. We leave around like 11 or 12 and we go through security, and right off the bat, my husband already gets stopped because his bag is too big. And he's kind of throwing a little fit about it because there's people with bigger bags, and that is true, there were. So him and his friend decide to go back to the shop where we got our outfits from, because for Oktoberfest they have like lederhosens and just like dresses and stuff for girls. And so they're going back, and we're like, well, either we should wait for them or we should go find a tent to go, camp out at so that we can start drinking. And it's pretty packed there, so we're like, well, we're just going to go find a tent and we'll wait for them. No big deal. And so my friends and I, we go get our table, we start drinking, and they serve liters of beer there. And if anyone knows me, I'm a huge lightweight. So just one of those, I'm going to be completely gone. Well, by the time that my husband gets back, I'm already 3 liters deep. And my husband has this great idea of, well, I better catch up. So he starts throwing them back. Probably not the best thing to do since we need to find our way around this area that we don't really know that well. And so we're drinking for a little bit, and then things start to hit the fan a little bit. One of our friends gets on top of the table and starts chugging their beer, which I guess isn't allowed. We thought it was because we saw a few people inside of the other tents doing that. Well, this man gets kicked out the first time. Not the only time, the first time. So he gets kicked out. We're trying to figure out how to find him, like where the heck he's at. This man miraculously just shows up out of nowhere like 20 minutes later. He's like, yeah, I got kicked out. Like, let's keep going. So not too long after, he gets back up on the table with his wife at this point, and they start chugging beers and they get thrown out. Well, somehow they all find their way back in again. And so the third time happens, and I don't remember who got up on the table that time, but everyone around us starts chanting USA. So it's a no-brainer that they're going to get kicked out, right? Well, the security comes and they kick our whole group out. They're like, nah, you got to go. This isn't cool. And we're like, yeah, you're right. So we're all kind of huddled together figuring out where we should go next. And to my surprise, I didn't realize that Oktoberfest had like a bunch of rides and like games and stuff. So I'm like, bright idea, Lexi over here. Let's go ride like a roller coaster or something. Like, we're already drunk. Let's just throw up while we're at it. Smart, I know. So we find this ride that goes up pretty high, and it's like a little swinging ride. And so I'm like, let's do that. My husband's afraid of heights. I'm afraid of that height. So we go on it with one of his friends, and he really has to pee. And so it's 2-person a seat. So I'm up here with my husband, and our other friend is back here with one of his friends. And right behind them is a father and his son. I'm sure you can imagine what had happened. Our friend started peeing mid-air, and yes, it gets on the father and son. That right there was like another red flag of we need a chaperone. Like, call my mom up, fly to Germany, like, help me the out right now. So we get off that ride, and we're trying to go as far away from that place as possible because that dad is about to beat our friends. And so we get far enough away, and what does he do again? He pees himself. Yeah. So I can show you the state of where everybody was at that point. So my husband and I are like, well, we're not really feeling too well. We're just kind of wanting to relax. Things are kind of getting a little crazy, so we're going to head back to our hotel. And so we're walking out of the festival grounds. I'm trying not to vomit because there's like pee, there's like throw up all over the ground, and I'm already drunk. I can hardly walk. Smart idea. Should have drank some water. Did not happen. So we get out of the festival grounds, and we decided that we didn't want to walk the rest of the way back to our hotel, but they do have these little, like, oh my God, back up. They do have these little Lime scooters. They're like little Razor scooters with batteries in them, and you can just like zoom wherever you want to go, basically. But you do have to pay for it. It goes through your phone. And so we take those scooters, and we're both just cruising down the streets of Germany, and my husband has the directions because if I'm in charge of the directions, I'm going to get us lost. Like, I lived in this one town like most of my life, and I still don't know my way around. Like, if you tell me a certain building, I'm like, oh yeah, I know that. But if you give me like a street name, anything, miles, like, I'm not your girl. So me getting lost, foreshadow. My fault. Depends on who you ask. So we're going down the street, and I noticed that we have to get on the other side of the sidewalk because we have to make a right at some point. So I'm like, all right, babe, like, let's freaking go. And so I noticed that he's not paying attention per usual. And so I'm off on the other side of the sidewalk, and I know that we have to go a couple of blocks. So I'm like, okay, it's not that big of a deal. I'll get to where we have to turn, and I'll stop and wait for him. And every couple of seconds, I'm looking for him to make sure that he's next to me. And he's there, making his way downtown, not crossing the street, like, no care in the world. Let him be. And maybe 5 seconds after the last time I checked on him, he's gone. And I'm like, okay, I'll just stay here. Like, there's no way that this man's just gonna leave me here and just like not know that his annoying wife who talks every 5 seconds isn't talking to him right now. So I thought. So I'm waiting there for about like 15 minutes, and I'm like, all right, maybe I should just like backtrack a little bit and go and find him because he can be clumsy. So he probably broke a bone, and who knows. Sorry, babe. But I backtrack a little bit. I'm going around like these buildings, and I'm not finding him. And I'm starting to freak out. And by this time, an hour has passed of me looking for him. Mind you, I don't have my cell phone on me. He has that because I didn't have any pockets in my outfit. Also smart idea. And so after an hour, I'm like, all right, I'm going to have to go talk to a local. So I'm trying to go to the most populated area. And in order to get there, I have to go on this really thin like street. And I'm noticing that there's 3 really sketchy guys outside of this bar. And I'm like, I know that I'm going to have to go past them. And I was like, girl, you know what? Just die right here. Like, don't even bother going past it because it's not going to end well for you. Like, your remains are going to be scattered at this point because they're probably going to kill you. Positive thinking. I know, I'm the best at it. So I go past them, and they're like talking to me in German, and they're like trying to grab me and whatnot. And I'm wearing like this short little frilly dress. My boobs are kind of out a little bit because that's just how the dresses for Oktoberfest are designed. And I'm like, this is it. I'm like, sayonara, everybody. Like, peace the out. But thankfully, I get past them, just being like, just ignoring them completely, just going about my way. And I see this girl, and I'm like, okay, she's wearing the same outfit as me. She's been to Oktoberfest, clearly. She looks around my age, so I go up to her, I'm like, hey, can you help me? And she has her headphones in, so she doesn't hear me the first time. So me being the creep I am, I go and follow her. And I'm like, I finally get her attention. I'm like, hey, can you help me find the address that's on my wristband? It goes to my hotel. I'm lost. I don't really know, like, where the heck I am, clearly. And so I speak to her a little bit, and she's like, well, your hotel's like right next to my flat. Like, I can take you there. I'm like, okay, cool, great. Like, how far do we have to go? This woman says, we are over an hour away. How did I get so far off track that I'm an hour away? Astonished. Cannot believe this. So thankfully, she walks with me that whole hour and a half back to my hotel. And at the time, I'm like, this girl's a freaking godsend. Like, if it wasn't for her, I have no idea how I would have gotten back. Like, I didn't know the area of a police station. Most people didn't speak English. And it was just insane. I didn't have my phone. I didn't know anyone's number. It was just, I didn't have money for like what the heck are those things called? Like one of those phones on the streets. I can't even think of what it's called right now. A payphone. Wow, Lexi, great. So I couldn't find one of those either. So I'm like, if I didn't find her, I don't think I would have ever gotten back to my hotel or anything safely. I 100% do believe that. So after a little bit, we finally get to my hotel, and by the grace of God, I see one of my husband's friends. He's out there smoking. I'm like, dude, yes. Can I borrow your phone? I need to speak to my husband. I've been lost for like, at this point, I feel like I was probably gone for like 3 hours, just wandering the streets of Germany by myself, like having the time of my life, living my best kidnapped life. And so he's like, yeah, let's just go to the bar. Let's have a drink. Like, let's call your husband. So I call him, and you would think like your wife has gone missing 3 hours and you would be happy. This man copped a freaking attitude with me. He's like, where did you go? I've been trying to reach you for like a couple hours. Like, what the heck? I'm like, hey, babe, why don't you look in your pocket real quick, and do you see my phone? And he was like, oh. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm safe. Where are you? He's like, well, since you're safe, I'm gonna go get something to eat. So he's at Subway, and that for me, max level of irritation succeeded at this point, because I'm like, I need to be with you. I'm upset. Help me. And so I'm like, where's the Subway? Send me your location. I'm getting you. So he tells me where he's at, and I force one of his friends to come with me, walk another, like, I don't even know how freaking far our hotel was from Oktoberfest, but we walked all that way, and we find him at Subway, and I go in there, freaking guns blazing, and I'm like, get the out. We're going back to the hotel. Like, I don't want to hear. We're leaving. And so while we're walking, he like starts telling me everything that happened from his point of view, and I'm like, oh. So what had happened from his side is he lost me, obviously, and so he went to go look for me, and we were thinking that while I went around one side of the building, he was coming out the other, so we were both kind of by each other the whole time, but we just weren't seeing each other. And so after like maybe 15 minutes of that, he goes to the police station, and he's like, I need to file like a missing persons report, or my wife is missing, she's American, and like, I don't know where she is, I don't know how I'm going to find her. So you would think like they'd be helpful. You would think. But they're like, did you just drive that battery operated scooter here? And he's like, yeah. And they're like, well, have you been drinking? He was like, well, yeah. Their bright idea was to give this man a freaking DUI. He's in here for his lost wife DUI. Like, we gonna get him today, these stupid Americans. Like, what's up? Which, mind you, understandable. Like, Oktoberfest, a lot of Americans probably do go there, and it's probably just a show from start to finish, and they probably get this happening to them a lot. So I can understand their frustration with them, but I'm a good person. I was just trying to live my best life. I was trying to have fun. Wrong. Did not happen. So I'm over here getting lost. My husband's about to get charged with a DUI. It ended up not happening. And so after that happens, he's like, well, the police aren't helping me, and he doesn't know, like, he's freaking out. So what other bright idea does he have? He decides to call his parents. And he's like, can you guys, like, talk to the police? Like, help me out some way. And they're like, okay, well, slow down. Like, what happened? And this man tells his parents, oh, well, we were riding scooters, and now Lexi's gone. So with that statement, they think I'm dead. They think I'm deceased at this point. So they're freaking out. And so he's like, okay, I'll call you back. I'm gonna go find her. So at this point, my in-laws are thinking that I'm just splattered on the ground somewhere in Germany. Good time. So yeah, that happened. And we get back to our hotel, and I'm like traumatized at this point. Like, I have seen so many scary movies, and just knowing what could have happened, I'm like, at what point in my life does the Hostel movie start? Like, what? And thinking back on the story now and how I went up to the woman who basically saved my life, and like just knowing how desperate I was, and not even thinking that this woman could be a part of something much bigger. Like, maybe she could try to traffic me, she could like kidnap me, she could dismember me, she could eat me, she could shove my body in a sewer. Like, positive thinking again, I know, like the queen of it. Like, worst experience of my life, just knowing that I had absolutely nothing. Not many people spoke the language there. I didn't know where I was. Like, grade A time, would recommend. This year Oktoberfest is canceled, but next year, if we do end up going, I am going to attach a leash to my husband so he doesn't freaking leave me again. But yeah, that's my story. If you enjoy it, let me know. If you think I'm dumb, that is also true. So like, I've already acknowledged it. I'm sure there are many things that I could have done differently, but in the heat of the moment, being freaked out, being intoxicated, like, it's crazy. But that is all for me. Hopefully I start uploading more videos, because I do enjoy talking to myself. So this has been pretty fun for me. So have a nice day, everyone. Don't get lost. Don't get kidnapped. Insert a tracker inside of your body so this does not happen to you. Peace.